Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, The Real Kristy J, featuring me, The Real Kristy J. So I figured I would end this year with a decade video. Why not, right? I mean, everybody's doing it. It's like so trendy, you know. Just kidding. Okay, but no, really, because a lot has happened in a decade. And I made a video earlier, but then I ended up just kind of venting about certain things that happened, and I totally lost focus of the video and trying to keep it positive and interesting, and it got really long. So I'm just going to go through a list of things that have happened in my decade, and I don't think I'm leaving anything out because these were all major things to me and that really stood out. So the first thing that happened at the beginning of the decade was I obtained my massage therapy degree, and I earned a lot of skill and new friends, and figured out who I was at the time. I was also a party animal, which I'm not anymore. And even though I'm pretty unfiltered now, I was highly unfiltered then, and I don't think I really had any care for anybody's feelings, especially being that I was drinking so much. And then I lost my father. At the time of losing my father, I was dating my now husband, and shortly after losing my father, things kind of changed for me as far as my living situation. Before he passed away, I moved into my own studio, and it was kind of cool. I was in downtown Hayward. I lived down the hallway from one of my best friends, who's still one of my best friends to this day. And the only thing that I really hated about that was the fact that I didn't go into it with really a clear mind. It was just me going into it to get out of a shitty situation. And so my studio was in the middle of the building, which means it didn't have any windows, which means my cats didn't have any sunlight or anything like that to bask in. And then I ended up trying to find homes for my cats, and one went to a successful home. The other went to a person who I thought was going to be one of my lifers, and just turned out to not have any compassion for the fact that my cat ran away and didn't try to find it. And I have absolutely no idea what happened to her to this day. I did have like 3 spot on exact reoccurring dreams that pretty much I felt was my intuition telling me that she had passed on, because she was older and so much time had passed on since she ran away. That broke my heart. The person who had my cat and assured me she would be in a safe home showed no compassion whatsoever. And I know to some people it's just a cat, but if anybody knew the history of this cat, she was very, very important to me. And I was trying to do what was best for her and give her a home where it was more space, windows, sunlight, you know, just a better home than a small little studio. So that had happened. And then another thing that had happened while I was living there, I was bullied by another tenant who thought she knew who I was because she knew people who knew me, and she was never nice to me. And so when this person would get drunk and do drugs, as she passed by my studio, I was constantly bullied. Even after my dad passed away, this bitch did this shit, but that's okay, because I always shine. And what's funny about that is years later, she tried to come up to me at a bar and act as if nothing happened, and I just looked her dead in the face and was like, no. And she flipped out. Like, the bitch fucking flipped out, because I didn't want to be her friend, and I wasn't trying to talk to her. Like, bitch, did you forget what you did, and do you not know who the fuck I am? Obviously you don't. Now you know. So there was that. So that living situation came to an end because things got really weird there because of another tenant that kind of weirded out me and one of my best friends and one of our friends that lived upstairs. And so we had to get out. So I ended up moving in with my now husband, and that situation was totally weird because of a roommate at the time. But that's okay, because that's done. But at the time of living here with my husband, we were frequently going to bars and drinking and just a little out of control, and had to put that in check because we were fighting a lot. And so yeah, that had happened. Once I got clarification or clarity and started like cleaning up my life as far as not drinking, I started realizing like who was in my life and who shouldn't be in my life, and who people really were, and how I was being used or treated. And I started to realize my worth, and I started kicking people out, started detoxifying my life. So it started with the alcohol, then it happened with my stepmonster after my dad passed away, because she stole money from me, and she showed me who she really was, being that my dad wasn't here, and who I knew she was all along. And my little sister also showed me who she was, but that's sad because of the brainwashing of her mother, and how she implemented her feelings about me into my sister's mind. And that's all in other videos. So I cut her out of my life, and it was kind of difficult because this is somebody who raised me, but it was also somebody who verbally, mentally, and physically abused me, which is something my little sister tried to take on and say that I did to her, but highly mistaken. And it was just kind of crazy how she asked me what had happened with me and took it on as something as her own, and made up a lie about me and tried to put it all over the internet and have people hate me and come after me and stuff like that. So that's okay though, still shining. Then I worked for a company called Wix, Wix.com. If you don't know of it, it's a great website company. You can easily build your own website from this company, or you can have their, I think it's an AI team. They will build one for you, which is kind of cool too. That kind of perked my interest of graphic design. Although I've always loved graphic design, I decided to go to school and become a graphic designer. So I did that, and I obtained my graphic design degree. And I was making websites and making logos, and I was working for some crazy ass fool who thought it was cool to pull me into a meeting, stick me in a corner, and verbally abuse me because he had anger issues, and pretty much wanted me to sit there and shut my mouth and be a woman and follow his command and not say anything, not have any say. Basically just be, I don't know, somebody to just do what he needed without, he was just a dickhead, okay? He was a fucking dick. I'm not gonna get into that because I almost started rambling about shit and getting into my feelings. Fuck that dude. Oscar, fuck you. Still don't like your fucking ass. Oh, and then denied me unemployment because he told me not to come in until he called me. He never called me, so I didn't come in. And then finally he called me and acted like I wasn't showing up, and I got denied like unemployment and all this other bullshit. But anyway, fuck you. So there was that, and before all that happened, we adopted our dog Porter. He's an awesome Mastador. We adopted him from our friends Casey and Sarah. And from my graphic design degree, I started my own clothing line or brand, Black Butterfly Apparel. But I also shut it down after about a year because it's hard being a one-woman team. If I had 2 or 3 of me, I think I would have been pretty successful with my clothing brand. And in fact, it's still kind of on the back burner, and I want to use it for upcoming things with my current business and career. And I want to do more with it. I'm just not entirely sure yet, but it's still there. So I have my own clothing brand. Started that a couple years ago. And I stopped doing massage because I blew out my shoulder. I was massaging on up-and-coming MMA artists, and I wasn't getting treatment. And I was going to the gym, and I was kickboxing, and I was rock climbing. And one day at the gym, I heard a pop in my shoulder, and I blew out my shoulder, and it was just intense pain from my shoulder to my fingertips. And that was it for massage. It kind of sucks, but it kind of made me a germaphobe in the end anyways, so maybe it was a blessing in disguise, because some people are just really disgusting. It's like, you don't come to a massage dirty. You take a fucking shower and you go and get your massage. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, so time has passed, obviously. I got a graphic design degree. When I was doing that, I rescued my dog Violet from my old man neighbor next door, who shouldn't have had a tiny little dog. And something happened to him health-wise, and his daughter offered up the dog, and he tried to act like he was giving me a different dog, but it was her because of a certain scar and markings and so on and so forth. So I have Violet. And yeah, then I got married. And that was great. That was awesome. I married my best friend after being with him for about 6.5, 7 years. We went to the courthouse and got married, and then I planned my actual wedding for family and friends, and that was awesome. I planned every aspect of my wedding, and to those of you watching, if you were offended that I didn't ask for your help or I didn't want your help, I'm sorry. I'm OCD. I'm very particular. I wanted things a certain way. And honestly, if you were to help and then leave, I'd probably go back and fix things and do it how I wanted, or that's just how I am. I just like things a certain way. As I was, let's see, I want to say before the actual wedding ceremony, and maybe at the time that we went to the courthouse to get married, I didn't know it at the time. I actually found out the results a couple of months ago, but I was going through perimenopause. I had no idea. I absolutely had no idea. I just thought it was because I got off birth control. I was on birth control since I was 16. Got on it because of really bad cramps and acne, and just needed to regulate. And so I was on it from 16 until 30 something years old, and then I got off of it before we got married. And I thought it was just my hormones acting up, and my body was like fixing itself and going back to normal. No, bitch. I was going through fucking perimenopause. And so right now I'm going through actual menopause, and it's crazy. I got videos. You can go watch them. Sometimes I'll post a video about my symptoms or research that I found on why I've gotten it so early. Go look at those videos, because that's not what this video is about. So then, this past summer, I actually started a new career, and I wanted something that would be a career that I could take anywhere, that would change people's lives, that would change my life, and that would just be more rewarding, because you could probably hear me moving this goddamn paper around, because that's what I'm doing down here. Sorry, but I wanted something more rewarding. I didn't want to get sick and tired of doing graphic design or being a painter, because those are fond hobbies of mine. And so I picked up semi-permanent tattooing, and I love it. Oh my God, I absolutely love it. So that's what I do. You can find me, Browse by Kristy J, on Facebook, on Instagram, or here on YouTube. I started that. Throughout these 10 years, I have been detoxifying my life of people who are not supposed to be there. People who I thought were lifers, but were actually bashing me behind my back, or felt the need to just up and sudden change and try to inflict their change upon me in my life, and stopped accepting me for who I am. And if anybody knows me, I am the same motherfucking real ass bitch that I've always been. I just get better with time. I try to be better than I was yesterday, and I try to be better to people, and I try to be better to those who are good to me. And so some people had to go. Sorry. In addition to all that, I found out who my real tribe was, and I just started making life better with those people and focusing on those people. I hashed out issues with old friends that I ended friendships with in the beginning of the decade, and I got rid of people who I thought were going to be around for life. Like I said, I got rid of some people who I thought would be lifers. Some people were included in my wedding who I thought would be lifers, and that's just how it is. People change, and they change towards you, and sometimes it's not always for the best, and you have to do what's best for you. So another thing that happened is I gave people way too many chances. I just tend to do that because people change, and I believe that some people can grow up for the better and some people didn't, and so I had to cut them out, whether it was family, friends. I had to cut people out because you just weren't good to me, and it is what it is. I was bullied online by a family member and her friends, and I cut my hair off, and I had major dental work, and if I didn't have that dental work done, I probably would have died, honestly. I can get into that into another video if you want to hear about it. I was in a couple of car accidents, not by me driving, by stupid people not paying attention, and it severely fucked up the curvature of my neck to where I have constant neck issues, and the curvature of my neck is the opposite way that it should be, and if I don't get certain things taken care of, like adjustments from the chiropractor, it could weigh down on my esophagus and prevent breathing or start giving me breathing issues, so I gotta see a chiropractor for that. I set boundaries, I stuck to them, and I stood my ground, and I'm gonna keep doing that, and I recommend you all to do that. Say no and don't give an explanation. Nobody needs an explanation. Stay true to yourself. Peace out. Okay, so there are two things I forgot to mention. I bought my own car. That is a huge accomplishment because the cars that I've had were always hand-me-downs, and so I officially bought my own 2006 RAV4, which I love and is awesome. And when I was in graphic design school, I was making stickers, and my marijuana sticker sets were picked up by the LA company Viacom, I believe it is, and they were featured on, well, not necessarily featured, but they were on the MTV show called Mary Plus Jane. I think it's a Snoop Dogg produced or directed show, but there will be a screenshot and you'll see my stickers in the window. Those are mine. I thought that was pretty awesome, so yeah, I forgot about those. One last thing before I go. Have a happy and safe New Year. Be safe. No intoxicating driving. There's Uber, there's cabs, there's friends, there's family, there's all sorts of stuff. Do not get in a car if you're intoxicated. Please, just stay safe. Enter 2020 alive and on a positive note, and Happy New Year. Peace out.